where David Zita has his ear to the ground. What is the talk there after the trade deadline has passed?
All the journos are huddled just into camera next to me. There is so much going on here at the moment. Those last few minutes were frantic. Of course, we saw the vision of Tom Peltoro, Zach Merritt's manager, fuming after he wasn't able to get that deal done between Hawthorn and the Bombers. So that was quite extraordinary. There haven't been a last few minutes like that. I can't remember in the last few years that I've been here, fortunate enough to be in this room for trade deadline day. So Zach Merritt, Rowan Marshall, Kalachi and Buku Karmas, none of them finding new homes. The Saints holding firm on Marshall, the Dogs holding firm on Karmas, and of course the Zach Merritt deal. I mean, so the Bombers, they were keen on pick 10, 22, a first round pick for next year, a future first round pick in exchange for Zach Merritt. That last deal obviously didn't get near that mark for them. So the Charlie Curnow details are just coming through now for the trade that was done for his services in the final moments really of the trade period. So the Swans get Charlie Curnow as well, along with picks 31 and 42 this year, and Carlton's second round pick in 2027. And Carlton get Will Hayward, Sydney's first rounder this year, Sydney's first rounder next year, and Sydney's first rounder in 2027. So that is a big result for the Blues, and a big result when it comes to Essendon and Hawthorn. Zach Merritt staying at the Bombers. Charlie Curnow finds himself a Swan, but it came at a big cost for them.
It certainly did. Wow, that's very much Sydney going all in right now, isn't it, Ralphie?
So it's effectively, it's 3 first-round picks and Will Hayward as well, and also Ollie Florent for the future third rounder, which you can throw in there. So Carlton, Sydney do have to receive back pick 31 and 42. If you do the points there, you probably say that one of those first-rounders is only a slide. But it does give Carlton such an amazing arsenal, not only to secure Harry Dean and Jack Eisen and also Tyson Stengel, who are father, son and academy picks this year, but also Cody Walker next year. We know it's a year in which there'll be bidding changes, and so you might almost need 2 first-rounders to secure him as a top 2 pick. So if you're Carlton, you have the now in the players they've brought in, and you also have the future in the shining light upon the hill that is Cody Walker and Harry Dean, who should play 20 games next year. So it's not Curnow, but it's a pretty damn fine deal.
It will be interesting to see what Carlton do with the picks, because they've now got picks 9 and 11. Is that going at the moment?
Yep.
But if the bid for the Peter Dean's boy comes before that, they don't want to soak up those picks in using, if he goes at pick 7, 6, 7 or 8. So I wouldn't be surprised, and you can still trade picks up until the national draft. I wouldn't be surprised if Carlton have a bit of a plan with another club, that if Harry Dean gets bid on before their pick, that they might trade one of them out into a future year and still be able to get Dean using other points, because you don't want to soak up those early picks on a father-son.
It's a big reset.
Yeah.
It's a big reset now. So Carlton fans, you're starting again, really. Not absolute ground zero, because no one wants to go to ground zero anymore. But that to me is just signals that, OK, they got 5 top 30 picks in the last 5 years. There's trauma coming. They're trying to get ahead of it now with trading Charlie Curnow, and I think this has got Graham Wright's fingerprints all over it.
Yeah, their team will look completely different next season. So you see the 5 names on the left that will... 4 of them will probably play. Reedy will still be the backup, you would think, behind Pitnet. Jagger Smith will come into the team as well. There's another one. And then, of course, a couple of high-end draft picks that they'll expect to get this year. So
kickers,
they could have...
Kickers, Joey.
6...
They've got kickers, haven't they? They've got some skill there on the left.
They've got some more skill, more talent. For me, they're still probably depth players. I don't know if it's really going to change the fortunes of the Blues too much, those type of players. But it certainly adds a bit of depth and a bit of running kicking, which they've needed.
Talk to me about Will Hayward. So an outstanding year last year that saw that $800,000 a year offer from Carlton. In the end, he stayed. Now he will... in fact, get to Carlton, potentially on an enhanced deal. So 29-10 in 21 games this year in a team that was crying out for forward presence. Now, that looks OK, but let's face it, he'll never have more opportunity. It's effectively 2 scoring shots a game. There will be times where the butchers of Lygon Street will be kicking to him, and he's going to have some tough days out there.
Yeah, for me, look, Ainsworth and Hayward are depth players. I don't think they are, as good as maybe their reputations say, because you can look at the numbers there for this season. So Hayward averaged 11 disposals and just over, nearly a goal and a half a game. But so did Ainsworth, so did Zach Williams and Francis Evans averaged similar numbers. So I think they've added some depth with Ainsworth and Hayward. Hayward's played 9 seasons. He's only kicked 30 goals in a year twice. In 9 years, never finished top 10 in a best and fairest. Florent will add some kicking off half-back. Ainsworth, again, is a nice player. So that's why I'm not overly, optimistic about what the Blues can do with those players, but I think it just gives them a bit of depth and a different look to the team that they've had in recent years.
I think it puts a real challenge now to Michael Voss to make this work. I mean, you're losing a gun to get some bits and pieces. OK, there's some future picks coming in there, and they're terrific, but they're not going to solve the problems of tomorrow. That's for down the path. So big challenge now for Michael Voss to make this work. And he doesn't necessarily have to win a flag with this group or make a prelim, but he's just got to show that he can get involved in the ball movement game and he can play modern football that will take them there eventually.
All right, let's head to AFL headquarters where David Zita has Robbie D'Orazio alongside him.
With Robbie D'Orazio from Connors Sports, how's the heart rate going, Robbie, after that last few moments?
No, it was going pretty fast there, Dave. But look, obviously to get Charlie to the Sydney Swans was the job at hand, and let's not forget Will Hayward as well coming to Carlton, who we also managed. So it was quite a stressful trade, but one that we got done in the end. And just talking to a few guys over there, it's quite a big one in the landscape of footy.
How big? That is a massive deal. So it was a 3 first-round picks effectively going to Carlton for Charlie Curnow. How adamant were they and how strong a hand did they play throughout this whole process, given that they wanted Charlie there next year?
Yeah, they did a great job in those three first rounds was sort of like the catalyst of the deal. Will Hayward obviously is a really good player as well, and we probably valued him in that first round range as well if he was traded this year. So to do what they've done is really good. But let's not forget Charlie Curnow is a very special talent. 2-time Coleman medalist, Carlton champion, and will ever be one. But he's off to the SCG now to apply his trade at the Harbour City.
Why did he want to leave?
Look, Charlie just probably in the end needed a fresh start. His footy probably did stifle a little bit this year. And maybe, there was a lot of talk about getting out of the bubble. But Charlie's a competitor. He just wants the best out of himself. And maybe just having a fresh set of eyes and new teammates around him. Charlie's a big character in the room, and his ups and downs can sometimes affect that. So, look, he's really excited. But, likes nothing but kicking goals, and SCG is probably the club he can go do it at. Was
Geelong his preference? Did he want to get to the Cats?
No. There was always a discussion around Geelong and Sydney. He would have been happy with either, to be honest with you. He wants that lifestyle of a coastal life, and you can get that obviously at both towns.
And how confident are you his best footy's still ahead of him? How confident are you can get back to his best? As you said, he was a bit below par recently.
Yeah, he won't like me saying that, but I'm a hard critic on him. Look, I love Charlie and the way he plays. My son's going to have to take down the Carlton jersey on his wall now. I think the best footy is ahead of him. He's only 28, turning 29. Some forwards can play for a long time. The way he plays as an athlete, he's a big man who prepares well, and I think just having the relaxed lifestyle around Sydney might help him.
Jamara Ugle-Hagan, how difficult, I don't know if you would have ever done a contract like the one that Jamara has had to sign at Gold Coast. How complicated has that whole process been for you as a manager and also for Jamara trying to find a new footy home?
Yeah, same thing. I think Jamara's been every case by case scenario, and Jamara's had his challenges this year, but I'm really proud of the way he's presented the last few months. He's really looking forward to getting up under Damien Hardwick and to play some good footy at the Gold Coast Suns. Noah Anderson, who we manage, he knows Jamara, played together at Oakleigh Chargers and was happy to back him in. And now it's up to Jamara to go and repay the faith from the Gold Coast Suns, and I hope nothing but he's able to do that.
And how confident are you that he can get back to his best, not just on the field, but off it as well? Because that's been the big sticking point. We all know what's happened this season.
Look, the team behind him at the Gold Coast Suns, I think they've done a lot of background research on him. Jared Harbrow is going to play a massive role, a great Indigenous leader. They've got some great Indigenous boys out there, Daniel Rioli and the like. So Jamara's looking forward to getting up there and embracing the lifestyle that Gold Coast has to offer. Up early, hopefully bed too early, and hopefully that all comes well for him.
Probably should have asked you, have you spoken to Charlie since the deal went through? How's it going?
Yeah, I just spoke to him. He's really excited. Literally, I was just saying before, it probably came down the last 2 minutes there. I'm not going to lie.
So you thought it might not have gotten done?
At one stage there, I thought it might have fallen over. Yeah, I did. And would have walked out here and not spoken to you, but it's lucky I'm here.
You shocked Zach Merritt didn't get done?
No comment on Zach. It's not one of my boys, but I know for a fact Tom Petroi is a great manager and would have busted his absolute backside to get that done.
Thanks for your time, Robbie.
Thanks, Dave.
Well done there to Robbie D'Orazio, getting the deal done for Charlie Curnow to head to Sydney. David King, does this put the Swans back in the flag frame?
I think they've got more problems behind the ball than in front of it, but it's a wild card talent that he's going to kick more goals than what's there at the moment, let's be honest. I mean, McLean last year was their biggest return in terms of the big bodies down there. He kicked 25. We didn't see McDonald. We only saw Amati for 8 games. This guy doesn't miss much footy. He's going to be a wild card that could kick 50 plus and put them on the map. Joe, you think this brings them into premiership contention?
Stuff the glass half empty. What about the theatre? Lockett, Hall, Buddy, Tippett and now Curnow.
It continues, doesn't it?
At 29 years of age, Lockett went up there. He played 98 games. He kicked 462 goals. Charlie's not going to kick 460, but even if he kicks 250 across the next 5 seasons, maybe they hoist the flag that Buddy Franklin was never able to achieve in his second incarnation at Sydney.
Yeah, the flow-on effect. Amadi becomes the second tall, which suits him better. McLean becomes the second ruck tall option. And
Isaac Heaney gets a great matchup.
that's exactly right. That's still star-studded. You're right behind the ball. That's why I wonder now with Curnow, and everyone's talking about the 4 talls with Logan McDonald in there as well, whether they now try Logan McDonald at centre-half back, because they do need someone else behind the ball to support McCartan and Blakey. Logan McDonald, it hasn't quite worked as a forward. With Amadi to play the second forward option, which I think suits better in McLean, I think they should try Logan McDonald. And if he can become a player like we've seen a lot of other failed forwards that go behind the ball and do a really, really good job, then that could be the difference for the Sydney Swans to be able to compete for a flag.
Gee, it takes the pressure off Heaney, doesn't it? I mean, he was a leading goal kicker again last year with 37. He doesn't have to do as much forward 50 work as what he's probably done the last couple of... I mean, he was pretty much a midfielder exclusively this year. I think 90% of ground time or something like that. So it does lessen his load.
Yeah, and I just wonder, Ralphie, how big their window is, the Sydney Swans, because a lot of talk about Chad Warner in 2 years will head back to Perth. Brody Grundy's going to be 32 next year. Heaney turns 30 next year. So I think it's the right time, the sweet spot for the Sydney Swans to have a crack at that flag that they've been chasing.